You know what would be fun? If we could win a lot of freaking football games and win a Super Bowl. I just don't think that's in the cards for 2024 for the Bears anymore. I was very optimistic. I was very upbeat. I was the positive guy. I've been right on with all this stuff, guys, with the preseason, with the mock drafts. I was right there. The trade down, the haul. Well, here we are, 4-5, a whole different story than 4-2. So I am going to do this. I'm doing the way too early Chicago Bears mock draft because I freaking feel like it. And I feel like it can help us to have something to look forward to. I'm not going to get into coaches and offensive coordinators and all that. I'm going to go based off this offseason if the Bears end a certain way. And if you go to PFN, there's a program they have where you can simulate the rest of the season. And so I did that. So I'm going to show you guys how that works when you go to the website. So it's just PFN, mock draft simulator. You can see the Bears are 4-5. This is before the night games. You can see the division there. You can see the little marker. You can just simulate the rest of the season. So we're just going to simulate all the remaining games and let it do its own little simulation, how it's going to mock it out. It does it real quick. And we're just going to take whatever it says, and we're going to make a postseason and then a draft order based off of that. So here's our results. We're going to close that out. And then we've got... All right, so the Bears end up at 5-12. And you know what? That could happen. The Bears, with our remaining schedule and what turmoil we're in, this Bears team could end up 5-12. So we're going to take the Bears. We're going to make them 5-12. We're going to look at the full standings. We're going to look at the playoff order, or the mock draft order, how we would draft. It looks like the Bears would be 8th place, eighth to last. So we would have the 8th overall pick if this simulation goes that way. So we're going to order all this. We're going to take it. We're going to put it in. We're going to show where all the picks would be, and then let's make an off-season mock draft according to this. All right. So here's how it plans out. When we put it in there, Titans are picking first, Patriots second, Cowboys third. We're down at 8. So the Bears get the 8th overall pick. Not too shabby, top 10 pick. And here's where our picks stand. We have the 8th overall pick. In this scenario, we'd have the Panthers pick, 37th overall. We'd have the 40th pick, our own, 72nd, our own, 99th compensation. We're going to say we keep Ryan Poles. And Ian Cunningham gets hired away. We get the Rooney Rule compensation pick for the next 2 years. 3rd rounder in each of the next 2 years. We get our own pick in the 5th, Justin Fields pick in the 6th, and then Khalil Herbert pick in the 7th from the Bengals. Here's our current. I'm going to go through the whole offseason, guys. This is it's going to be elaborate, but I think you're going to like the way this turns out. So, no, I'm not going to re-sign Tevin Jenkins. He's injured too dang much. I'm not going to re-sign Keenan Allen. We have so many other needs that we can use that money for. We're going to extend Coleman Shelton to a 1-year, $5 million deal, give consistency with Caleb Williams, and bring in another center in the draft to be able to develop under him. That way you're not forcing in like John Michael Schmitz a couple years ago. You can develop these guys. Jack Sanborn's a restricted free agent. So are Josh Blackwell and Jalen Jones. So we're going to let them hit the market. They're going to get offers, and we're just going to match those offers. And these should be pretty close to that. Jack Sanborn should get around a 3-year, $22 million deal. Josh Blackwell, Jalen Jones, 1-year deals. We're going to match them. We like these guys. There's other guys we like. We're just not going to keep them. Doug Kramer, DeAndre Carter, Mercedes Lewis. Khalil Herbert's already gone. We traded him. I didn't take him off the list, though. Travis Homer, gone. Darrell Taylor, Jacob Martin, Chris Williams, Daniel Hardy, Eamon Ogbongbemiga. We're going to re-sign Bill Murray and Matt Pryor because they're good depth pieces for the line. Okay? We're going to cruise through this kind of quickly. Here's our cut players. We're going to cut Nate Davis. This should not be a shock for anybody. If you look over on the right-hand side, the dead cap savings, we're going to have $2 million in dead cap, but we're going to save $9.5 million. So that's a huge help. Here's 2 shocker moves I don't think a lot of people would see coming. But this, I absolutely think this is the way to rebuild, restock, reload, and do it. Tremaine Edmonds, we're going to trade him. Okay, we're going to trade him. It's going to unload $12.562 million in dead cap. He's not panning out to what we could get for him. With us paying part of that contract and getting rid of him, we're basically going to pay $4 million out of his contract in the next 2 years. He's going to be a trade asset. Someone will trade a high draft pick for him. So we're going to trade away Tremaine Edmonds. We're also going to trade away Braxton Jones. Okay, he's on a rookie contract, 1 year left. We're not going to get a day 1 or day 2 pick, but we will get an early day 3 pick for Braxton Jones. A lot of starting experience, a lot of opportunity for him. Someone will trade for him for probably a 4th rounder. So we're going to trade him as well. It only saves us $1 million in cap space, but it's going to give us a 4th rounder. We're going to upgrade. We need to upgrade the position. So here's where we stand after that. We have our 1st rounder, Panthers, our own 2nd, our own 3rd. We're going to trade Tremaine Edmonds to the Chargers for a 3rd rounder. Okay? Compensation pick for Ian Cunningham. The Patriots are the ones that are going to trade for Braxton Jones. They need to overhaul their offensive line. We're going to get a high 4th round draft pick for Braxton Jones. So we're going to get the Patriots 4th round pick. We have our own 5th, 6th, and 7th. So that's where we stand now. Like I said, we're doing a whole off season. I think you're going to like this by the time it's done. Follow with me here. So now I'm going to go through. Here's where we stand after we've cut players, after we haven't re-signed the players we haven't re-signed, where we are with all the different players on the team. So you can see we have some big holes on the offensive line. Left tackle, left guard, right guard. We didn't re-sign some key guys. Tevin Jenkins, Nate Davis is gone. Braxton Jones is gone. As we move on to quarterback and running backs, we are down to 3 running backs and our starting quarterback and backup quarterback. We're going to need another running back at least. Our receivers and tight ends, we didn't re-sign Keenan Allen. We are thin now. There are players on the practice squad. We're talking about building the right way, though. All right, as we move on to defensive line, we need a starting defensive end. We can start DeMarcus Walker, but we want to improve this team. We need to improve defensive interior as well, improve the defensive ends. We need another linebacker. Jack Sanborn could move over to middle linebacker. I really think he needed more opportunity there. We have a lot of options as we move into the offseason. We're going to have a lot of money. I'm going to show you the salary cap in a second. This doesn't affect our cornerbacks and safeties very much, but if you look on the right, all those tan colors, those are all the contracts that are coming up at the end of 2025. So there's quite a few contracts that are going to be coming due. So we're going to have to start building through the draft and through free agency as well. So here's where we stand. You guys know this graph from where I was last year, but look at all the pieces we have now. We have a 1st, 2 seconds, 3 thirds, and a 4th, and a high 4th at that. To be able to get our key starters, we need to pick up a left tackle, left guard, right guard, defensive end, linebacker. Kind of in between depth and starter, wide receiver, defensive tackle, nickelback. And at depth, we need to get a running back, wide receiver, tight end, cornerback, safety. We're looking to enhance this team and continue to build. So those are the key ones on the left. Then we also have a 5th, 6th, and 7th rounder. Those aren't spots that you're going to really expect guys to be starters from. All right, here's our cap space next year, $72.572 million. We're trading Tremaine Edmonds. That's going to clear $12.5 million in cap space. We're going to cut Nate Davis, clear $9.5 million. Trade Braxton Jones. It's going to clear $1.1 million. We're going to have $95,734,000 in cap space. Our re-signings that I already went through, like Jack Sanborn, how we matched his restricted offer, Jalen Jones, all those guys that we ended up, Coleman Shelton, the ones we re-signed, cost $21,333,000. Our rookie draft picks are going to cost us roughly plus or minus $10 million. Now, we know at the end of this, Ryan Poles is going to want to have $10, $15 million in buffer. He always does. It's going to help accumulate for the injury reserve, for additional things that might come up. So you take that 95 minus 31 million, you got roughly 64.5 million left. So here's where we're going to go first. We're going to sign Trey Smith. He's going to be the most sought-after guard this offseason. He's only 25 years old, and he's one of the highest graded guards in the league. We're going to go after him. Spotrac says he's going to be roughly $19 million a year. Bubkus. Other guards last year were signing for $20 million. We're going to throw 5 years, $105 million at him to be able to sign him long-term. A young, solid guard that's going to shore up our offensive line, 6'6", 321 pounds. And look at his grades every year. He hardly ever allows any pressure whatsoever, hardly any sacks. He is pass blocking, run blocking. He is the epitome of a guard that you want on your team. He's going to be a huge upgrade, one of the best guards in the league. We're going to go out. We're going to go big. We're going to go Trey Smith. We're going to lock it down by overpaying $21 million a year, which is probably what he needs to get paid. But we're going to go above what Spotrac says he needs to be paid. This one, some people will not agree with. I think he's still got some rubber on the tires, and because he's getting older, he's going to be cheaper. They say $7.1 million a year. I think he's going to cost more than that because he's still high production. Last year had 18 sacks. This year already 5 sacks. Khalil Mack, we're going to bring him home. We're going to bring him home to play for the Bears once again. 2-year, $17 million contract. It's worth it to be able to have a solid defensive line. We need to get back to it. I love this move. I know some people won't agree with it, but I love it. All right, we're going to shore up the left tackle position with Garrett Bowles. He's getting older. I get that. He's 32. He's going to be 33 by next season. But a lot of tackles are playing well into their 30s, and he got a later start. He didn't make it to the NFL until he was 25, 26 years old. You can see he only has 8 years on his service record. Very, very solid left tackle. I love it. I love that he can be in here, and we're still going to draft a tackle to compete with him. He can be able to help bring that young tackle along so they don't have to start day one. 2 years, $32 million. He's making $17 million this year, but he's going to be 33 next year. $16 million a year. Ought to get it done for Garrett Bowles. I really like this move. Next, we're going to sign linebacker Ernest Jones. They say he's going to be about $12 million a year. We're going to go right along with what they say. We're going to give him the 3-year, $36 million that Spotrac says he's worth. No, this is not a huge upgrade from Tremaine Edmonds, but I can see Jack Sanborn taking those reps. I see 3 quality linebackers in that process. So we would have Ernest Jones, we would have Jack Sanborn, and we'd have T.J. Edwards. 3 solid linebackers. Plus, you still have your backups with Noah Sewell, and then we can always add some as well in the draft. All right, next we're gonna replace, and this is not an upgrade, Keenan Allen with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. And I like him. He always seems to find the end zone. Doesn't drop the ball. He's a good pass blocking wide receiver as well. So I like him. I'm not saying this is a replacement for Keenan Allen, but we have DJ Moore. We've got Cole Kmet. We've got Rome Odunze. We have solid wide receivers, and this is a value signing. Yeah, he's 27 years old, 1 year prove-it deal, $4.7 million. I like this signing. All right, now as we get into the draft, we talked about the haul last year, so those were our big signings. I'm going to go over the entire roster when we're done here. Talked about the haul last year. We're in the 8th spot. I want the Bears to accumulate some draft capital and be able to hit many needs. So I went on, I created it. We traded down from 8 for 15, 47, and 151 from the Colts. It's a fair trade, and the Bears are trading down to 15th spot. So here's what we end up with. We're going to end up with 15th, 37th, 40th, 47th, 72nd, 85th, 99th, 103, 145, 151, 205, 227. This is why I like to freaking do this stuff. I want to build this roster to be a powerhouse. I want to build it to be able to have a lot of options. The more darts we throw at the wall, the more players we can be able to get a quality player in this process. So we have high-quality draft picks still. Middle of the first round is still a great place to be picking. Then we have 3 second-rounders, 3 third-rounders, and an early fourth-rounder. So let's get right into the draft picks, what I'm going to do with all these picks. We're going to start it right off the bat. We're going to start Walter Nolan, defensive tackle. Now, see right below where I put the number there, guys? I put right in the middle there, round 1, pick 15. This is our pick for them. I'm going to put a lot of their stats in here. You see at the bottom, he's with Ole Miss this year. He transferred from Texas A&M. 3 sacks already. His defense grade is run defense, which is the biggest reason that I like him. We need to shore up our run defense, and he's probably the best run defensive tackle in this class. He can play nose tackle. He can play 3 technique. He would really come in to replace Andrew Billings, whose contract's going to be up after this year. And he's one of the best run defenders in the entire NCAA. He's really, really solid. So different places have him projected at different spots. I'm going to use, you see where it says 29 Ole Miss? I'm going to use the NFL mock draft database consensus big board, but I'm also going to use some logic in this. I don't think he'll go as low as 29. I'm showing you where they say he's going to go. I think he's going to be a middle of the first round pick when all is said and done. So I'm going to put him there. He's going to be our first round pick, defensive tackle. I know a lot of people want us just to take straight offensive line, the entire first round, second round, third round. We've accumulated a lot of picks. This is the best player available. Now with our first pick in the second round, 37th overall, Wyatt Millam is a great left tackle. I love the idea that he can come in and he can learn behind our free agent signing Bulls from the Denver Broncos. He might beat him out in camp. He is that quality of a left tackle. He hasn't allowed a sack in 3 years at West Virginia. Not one sack in 3 years. Since his freshman year, 2022, 2023, 2024, not one sack. I love that. Does allow a pressure here or there. He hasn't allowed a pressure this year in 227 pass block opportunities. Not one pressure. That's huge. His pass blocking and run blocking are both elite. Now, some places think he'll go in the first round. He could, but as I showed, right there in the middle, number 40 overall is what they project him as on the mock draft database consensus big board. 6'6", 317 pounds. He's going to be the future left tackle for us. I really like this signing. I like this draft pick. So Wyatt Millum, get to know him. This will be a good opportunity for you guys to see some of the players that I'm researching and looking into in college football. This is someone I brought up last year. With our 40th overall pick, Landon Jackson, defensive end. He can also versatilely come in on the defensive line and play as well. 6'7", 280 pounds. I really started seeing him a lot last year. Those who watch the channel know that I put some highlights out with him in them. He's a great run defensive end as well. So I love the prospect of him across from Montez Sweat. I think the two of them could be a dynamic tandem for years to come. But he doesn't have to rush right in when we sign Khalil Mack. We can rotate quality guys. We have a huge opportunity to build true depth on this team. So we would take Landon Jackson in the second round, our second pick, 40th overall, projected right now somewhere between 37 and 44. So we're, some of these things are going to go our way on this. But look at his grades across the board. Really good. All right, this is a guy that a lot of you might not have heard of. And here with our 47th pick, I know it shows 76 there. 60 is the peak for them. This is a tight end that's going to keep climbing boards. He's already got 1,033 yards this year. I understand it's at Bowling Green. 14 yards of reception. He's got pure hands. He's got great route running. Everything about Harold Fannin Jr. screams elite tight end in the next level, other than his pass blocking and run blocking. He's going to be more of your receiving tight end. However, those things can be taught. He's going to be your Kyle Pitts type of tight end. You see, he's only 230 pounds. He's not your big bruiser tight end. He's going to be more of a receiving weapon. We lost Keenan Allen. This is going to give us another weapon to be able to use those 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets. It's going to be a weapon for whoever takes over. Ben Johnson, he's going to love it. He never drops the ball. He's a great receiver. 6 touchdowns this year already, 1,033 yards. Get to know Harold Fannin Jr., because you're going to like everything that you see about him as he gets closer to the draft. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes early second round. I've got a mid-second round. A lot of places are projecting him in the third round right now. I really like taking the best player available right here since we had so many picks that we accumulated. We're going to take Harold Fannin Jr. Tate Ratledge is someone I've brought up before. He allowed his first sack this year finally. Tate Ratledge in their last game against Ole Miss. Georgia lost to Ole Miss. One of the best pure prospect guards in this draft to me. I still love taking him. He's a great pass blocking guard. He's good at run blocking as well. He's a pure prospect. I really, really like Tate Ratledge. Anybody who's watched this channel knows I've already brought him up before. Getting him at the 72nd pick would be a steal. He's kind of dropping a little bit on some boards, but I just love his size, his speed, everything. 6'6", 310 pounds. 5'3", 540. That doesn't matter that much, but he's a really good guard. All right, with our last third-round pick, well, we have one more, the comp pick, but the third-round pick here, we're going to take Armand Membu, who's a great right tackle to be able to compete. You need iron to sharpen iron, and as much as I like Darnell Wright, hasn't had the best year this year, and he's been injured a little bit. Armand Membu, to me, is a guy who could versatily move into guard as well, but he's a solid right tackle. 6'3", 314 pounds. He's quick. He's athletic. Hasn't allowed very many pressures this year at all. You can see his offensive grade is one of the highest in all of college football. Solid pass blocking, solid run blocking. He's not the guy that you have to come in and start day one. Obviously, we took Darnell Wright, first round, 10th overall pick. We're not going to start him over him. But when you've got a guy with this high caliber, it's kind of like Kieran Amagaji last year. He can be learning and developing behind the left tackles there. He would be a depth piece, a deep depth piece for us now. Armand Membu can learn behind Darnell Wright, and give him competition. You need competition for iron to sharpen iron, so I like it. They've got him at 104, but you can see the peak 55, so there's a lot of variance there between him. Young, 20 years old, good opportunity to bring another tackle. I want to shore up this offensive line. This is one of the biggest things you're going to see in this video that I really focused on. All right, now with the last pick here, because we had the comp picks, what I did was I focused on the now and the future. So we just took 3 picks. We took 7 picks in the first 2 days. We have this 39 or 99th overall pick. We're going to trade down with Arizona, who's going to trade up. And for that, the equal value is getting a 4th-round pick, middle of the 4th round, since we already took several guys we wanted right here, and we're going to build for the future. We're going to take a 4th-rounder from them next year, and that's a fair pick. 2 fourths for a late 3rd. It equals out to be a value pick for us, and we're going to move into the 4th round now with the pick we got right there. 4th, 103 overall. All right, I really like Khalil Mullings. So, like I said, this is going to give an opportunity for some of you guys to be able to look at players maybe you hadn't been looking at. Look at his size, 6'2", 233 pounds. He is a pure north to south runner. This is a guy on the goal line that's going to take over on the goal line. He's an absolute bruiser. Is he going to be your most jukish? Is he going to be your quickest running back? No, but he's going to be absolutely specialized at goal line. And he's going to be able to be a good run blocking and pass blocking running back for us as well. So they've got him going all the way from 187 to 107th. With his side and his ability, I don't think he's going to last much longer than the beginning of the 4th round. So I'm taking him early. 4th round, 103 overall, Khalil Mullings. 141 attempts so far this year, 740 yards, 5.2 yards per attempt, and 8 touchdowns. He's going to be a goal line back that the Bears are lacking. So to team that up with DeAndre Swift for our finesse and our every down back and get Khalil Mullings rotating in. And I absolutely love that tandem duo. You can still use Roschon Johnson as well. We're still going to have Ian Wheeler to be able to come in, help with kick return, punt return, things like that. So we got a good tandem there. Now we have some depth. All right, Bryce Foster, center, Texas A&M. Actually, he's transferred to Kansas now, so I don't know why it still says Texas A&M. He's a guy I brought up a couple times. Having a good year this year again. I really like the prospect of him. He's getting better and better the longer he plays in college football. As someone to come in and develop. That's why we kept Coleman Shelton to be able to have consistency with Caleb Williams. And then you bring in a guy like this who's 6'5", 330 pounds, who's agile, who's quick, and can be able to play both the run and the pass. I really like Bryce Foster. When you watch him on tape, he looks even better than his stats here too. So 1 sack allowed in the last 3 years total. Not very many pressures either. He's good at run blocking, good at pass blocking. I like Bryce Foster a lot. I think he's someone that you can develop for sure. He might come into camp and he might compete and beat out Coleman Shelton day one. He's got that much potential, and he's such a big guy. They've got him down to 217. I don't agree with that at all. He's going to be right there. All right, there's going to be a couple here that are going to be near and dear to my heart, guys. I'm a big UNLV fan, but there are 5 All-Americans on UNLV's team. That's why they've been doing so well the last couple of years. Ricky White, just look at his yards last year, 1487, 8 touchdowns. This year already 790 and 10 touchdowns. He has 4 blocked punts in 2024 already on special teams. He himself blocked those punts. He's going to go way higher than they're projecting at 210. They say his peak is 74. Obviously, there's a lot of upside with him. He's an X-receiver. He's a little bit smaller, 6'1", 190 pounds. He could come in and compete to fill that void with Keenan Allen as well. Very good with his hands, too. Very good receiving, wide receiver. Let me see here. They don't show much more about his special teams, but he leads the nation in 4 blocked punts. That's been huge. A couple of those are blocked punts for touchdowns for him as well. So I like Ricky White a lot. He's going to be the first one that I have. And then next up is going to be Jalen Catalon. He's a nickelback, really. They've got him listed as safety, but he's a nickelback. He transferred from Arkansas, then to Texas, and then came to UNLV with Barry Odom, the coach. Solid player. You can see he already has 4 interceptions on the year this year with 2 pass breakups if you look at the bottom there. Really, really good size, 5'11", 205 pounds. He's quicker than he looks, and you're going to like the way he plays. He's been a huge reason. UNLV, the reason I'm putting some UNLV players in here, guys, UNLV is exactly like the Bears. Really, really solid defense that carries the way for them. So they've got him listed 160-ish. So we're going to take him with the 151st pick overall, and that's going to help shore up our nickelback for the future. Next up is going to be Lathan Ransom, pure safety. 236 is what they have, peak of 149. I'm taking him in the 6th round, 205th overall. He's having a huge year this year so far. His coverage grades are awesome. His pass rush as well. Everything about him is having an up year. I wouldn't be shocked if he makes it way above the 6th round. He could sneak into the 5th, 4th round. Really good prospect from Ohio State. All right, next up, the Bears are going to take Jackson Woodard, another All-American from UNLV that I love, 6'2", 235 pounds. This guy plays exactly like Jack Sanborn. If you have a chance to look, just Google his tape. You're going to see he hits freaking hard. He's already got 4 interceptions this year, 7 pass breakups, a couple of dropped interceptions, a touchdown on the year. He's got 57 tackles this year already. His NFL pass rating against him 61.6. So he's really good at his defense, his run defense, his tackling, his pass rush, his coverage grade. Everything about him is really, really solid. He has been the leader of UNLV's defense. So, yes, I'm taking a lot of UNLV players. That's the opportunity I get on this channel, guys. I like these guys. I want to see them as Bears, and I think there's a good opportunity for them. One of these guys could be a Chicago Bear for sure because they play with the hits principles. I know. Don't get into how Matt Eberflus is hits print, blah, 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 blah. We're looking to build for the future. That's what we're doing right here with this. So we're taking Jackson Woodard to help come in, develop, see if we can make him into something. All right, and I did include an undrafted free agent because this is the other All-American, second-team All-American from last year. You can read that if you want to. Jacob DeJesus, he's a wide receiver. The wide receiver stats are on the top part there. You can see he doesn't ever drop the ball. I mean, everything about he's not the primary. Ricky White is the primary. He has 2 touchdowns on the year, 299 yards. His receiving grades, every grade is in green and blue. You look at those. But down below that is his kick return and punt return. He's one of the leading punt returners in the nation. He was up for punt return finalist of the year. That's what he's a second-team All-American is, punt return, kick return. So we're taking him as an undrafted free agent to be able to have him help with our punt return and kick return since DeAndre Carter is now not re-signing with us. So we signed Jacob DeJesus. Let's run through this now. So here's all the picks we took. We took quite a bit. Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. Wyatt Millam, left tackle, West Virginia. Landon Jackson, defensive end, Arkansas. Harold Fannin Jr., tight end, Bowling Green. Tate Ratledge, guard, Georgia. Armand Membu, offensive tackle, Missouri. Khalil Mullings, running back, Michigan. Bryce Foster, center from Kansas. Ricky White, wide receiver, UNLV. Jalen Catalon, nickelback, safety, UNLV. Lathan Ransom, safety, Ohio State. Jackson Woodard, middle linebacker, UNLV. And Jacob DeJesus, punt returner, wide receiver, UNLV. We got a haul. Add that to our signings. Look at this offensive line. This is what I want to get to in the end of this. Look at this offensive line. Garrett Bowles starting at left tackle with a early second round tackle, Wyatt Millam, who's having a huge year, backing up behind him with an opportunity to compete against him. Tate Ratledge backed up by Ryan Bates. Coleman Shelton backed up by Bryce Foster. Trey Smith, one of the best guards in the entire league, backed up by Matt Pryor. Darnell Wright backed up by Armand Membu. You got Kieran Amagaji, Bill Murray, and let alone our practice squad guys who are getting some reps this year alone. All the blue on the right are the newly drafted. The green are the re-signed or signed in free agency. That is a completely overhauled offensive line. And this is what this team needs to do to compete next year. This is a line that could work itself into a top 10 pass block efficiency, top 10 line overall, top 5 line overall. That's this potential that this line has. So if Tate Ratledge isn't working out as a rookie right off the bat first year, Matt Pryor's been having a great year. He could fill in right there. You could even have players like Wyatt Mullen, who's drafted so high, sneak in and start as a left guard as well. I mean, there's so many opportunities, but these guys, this is a really good offensive line. I like what I put together here. All right. Quarterbacks and running backs, Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent. This isn't including the practice squad guys, but this is pretty stacked. DeAndre Swift and Khalil Mullings rotating in and out with Roshan Johnson and Ian Wheeler. Ian Wheeler could help on kick return and punt returns with Jacob DeJesus as well. As we move on to the wide receivers and tight ends, you've got DJ Moore, Nick Westbrook in kind, Roma Dunze, Tyler Scott, Cole Kmet, Harold Fannin Jr., Ricky White, Jacob DeJesus, and Gerald Everett. I'm really excited about what we could pull off here. Defensive line, this is stacked. Montez Sweat, Jervon Dexter, Walter Nolan, and Khalil Mack starting. And then you've got Landon Jackson, who's a late first round, early second round, that would rotate in with Khalil Mack. You still got Austin Booker developing. DeMarcus Walker, who was a starter this year. They can rotate into defensive interior as well. Andrew Billings on the last year of his contract. Zach Pickens, who probably would be off the team after next year with how stacked we're getting. And Dominic Robinson, who the Bears still love. I'm not the biggest fan of, but I recognize they love him, so we kept him here on the team. And then as we move to nickelback linebackers, you got Ernest Jones, who we signed. Jackson Woodard behind him. Micah Baskerville, TJ Edwards, Jack Sanborn, Noah Sewell, Kyler Gordon, Reddy Stewart, and Jalen Catalon. Man, this team's looking stacked through this. Cornerbacks and safeties, you got basically the exact same thing we have now. You're just adding Lathan Ransom because some of these guys are coming to the end of their contract, and we're not going to re-sign all of them. So I'm a little winded from that. It was quite a long one. Let me know what you guys think, though, because this could be a huge start to a new Bears regime. This is a team that I would have confidence going into next year. It's sad that we're here right now. It's sad that I'm doing this way too early. I get it, guys. I know I don't want to be here either, but this is where we are. Heading into the week with the Packers, I did my first huge overhaul off draft. Now I'll get into Packer stuff. It's done and over with. But this is kind of exciting to see what we can put together if the front office will actually build through the draft and build by signing some huge free agents. It could be a lot of fun. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know we want Matt Eberflus gone. I know we want Shane Waldron gone. I know those things can be developed. Maybe we get Ben Johnson. Let's just insert Ben Johnson and say Ben Johnson's a part of this. Then everyone will be happy. With that, hope you guys have a great start to your week. Cheer up. It's going to get better somehow. Whether or not this year, I don't know. But next year, we have a ton of opportunity and potential ahead of us, especially as we get an offensive coordinator and as we get a true play caller. This will be a lot of fun to watch this Bears team. We have a lot of things that we can put together for this. So appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, I don't know why you haven't. I put out some good stuff, and I like you guys tuning in, so please do so. And until next time, dabears.